You watch the lesson back over. So if
Very
it's
dope.
like a long lesson with a lot of small shit, it's really good to be able to watch it again. Um,
Totally.
so I started recording, and I already got into the game. I'm going to share my screen, and you can watch the game through Skype. Um,
Awesome. This is dope.
yeah, this shit's awesome. This is Skype is so much better than Discord and Steam for all of this. I don't know if you can even do it on Steam. So the first thing that I want to point out is I would have much rather seen you get a clarity than the Sentry Ward, because if you go for a clarity, you're only going to be like 35 gold away from the Sentry. And what that does is, if you don't see anybody place the ward, you don't really just want to drop a random sentry. And
Right.
you can be wasting 100 gold for the entire laning phase if you don't see anyone place a ward. So it kind of just like burns a hole in your pocket. And then
Is
this,
there any benefit to grabbing the sentry right away?
I mean, if they have, the only reason that I would do it,
Besides Invis heroes.
yeah, I was gonna say the only reason that I would do it is Invis heroes. And one thing that would have made it a lot better is if you immediately came out here and placed like a lane ward, because you're fast as shit, because you got the mystical pony. So what that's really good for is, do you remember the before TP started on cooldown and supports kind of like had to TP to the lane?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the reason they would do that is because you can also start with a sentry, and then if you get this ward down right away, you get an easy D ward and it pays for itself.
Okay.
But Kotl's so fucking fast, he can just run out and place this ward if you just like beeline to here, and then it might be better to have the sentry. Or like I still wouldn't want to start with the sentry, but it would be at least better if you just immediately ran here and placed it.
One of the problems I sometimes run into is like it'll be like 30 seconds before the actual game commences, and I see a support, the enemy support plant an observer, and I don't have any gold, and I'm just like, fuck, now I have to wait until I have sentry money, and then deward it.
Well,
It's like,
if you went for a, instead of the sentry here, if you got a clarity, you'd be at 65 gold right now, and then
Right.
that's only like 20, 25, 30 seconds. I think you get 90 gold per minute.
Okay.
So you would have it like pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, and then
I mean, there is like still waiting for the courier and everything. Like, so you feel like the clarity is just way better, and
yeah, unless they have invis heroes, because what you can do is you don't really want to take it from the mid, because they might want to rush a salve or something, or get an early bottle or whatever. So you can just buy the sentry and then put it on the courier and wait for your mid to use the courier, and then instead of having to make the courier do this long ass trip for your one sentry, all you do is make him go here, and then like this is the only distance that's like actually yours, because it's already right here. Like it's already committed to doing this distance twice. So if you send it to you, you're not making it go all the way to you. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So you're making it.
Totally does.
Yeah. So and it's kind of like if he has the observer ward out for an extra minute, it's not that big of a deal. And what you
Right.
can do with that is try to get yourself low enough that you can tango the observer ward, and then get the double healing from that. So it's kind of like not even that bad.
Right.
So you just take trades that are like slightly unfavorable, and like try and force the trades, because you know you can tango up and double heal off of it.
Okay.
And the reason that you want to go clarity, which is kind of counterintuitive on Kotl and Lich,
No,
those
it makes sense for the first. Like,
Yeah,
level
exactly.
or two.
the Kotl and Lich, a lot of people are like, lol, why the fuck would you get a clarity? They can just chakra or sacrifice, but it's not until you have a few points in this that it actually starts working.
Can I ask you really quick?
Sure.
Like in your like skill level, the bracket or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, would that be like, lol, what the fuck are you doing? Or
If you started
like,
with a sentry?
no, with like a clarity on a coddle. Like,
No, not at all. Like,
so, okay.
it's just so much impact for 50 gold.
Totally.
And it's kind
I
of
was
like,
considering getting a mango, but like,
no, you don't want a mango as a support.
no, huh?
Yeah, it's not
At
good.
all?
Because if you look at,
They
Cla-
just buffed mango.
yeah, but they also buffed the shit out of Clarity's last patch,
Oh, okay.
where it used to give you like 3.3 mana regen, or it might have been 3.2, but now this is still flat. So that 3.2 is considered with your 50% mana regen by having 25 intelligence.
Hmm.
So you're getting 50% more. You're getting like 5 mana regen per second from the Clarity. So you're getting like 250 mana from it if you run it the whole time for half the cost of a mango. So you get, what is that, like 30% more for half the gold, and as a
Right.
support, like if you go for the mango instead of the Clarity, then if you want that Sentry Ward, it'll take you an extra 40 seconds before
longer.
you can, yeah.
Do you feel like mangoes are just basically a no for supports in general? Is there ever a time?
I the only time that I would get a mango on a support, is if I'm gonna
What about,
get,
like an Omni Knight?
still not him.
Okay.
The only time that I would actively use a mango is, let's say I want to get a wand eventually, and I get the 2 branches, and then I get the mango so that I can get the wand at the side shop and complete it, and then some shit happens where if I,
Use it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think
That
that's
makes a lot of sense, dude.
I think that's really what the mango buff was, is Ice Frog trying to make it so that if you're building into a wand, you're more incentivized to not hold it when something comes up where you can use it.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, totally.
But yeah,
I
so
feel like for heroes like Ogre though, like who like rely on that burst and just like it could just be like out of nowhere. I feel like it could be beneficial. Like pop a mango, I have Fire Blast.
yeah,
like,
there's that can, like, it if it comes up, it's really good. And then Ogre and Nyx Assassin are 2 heroes that I don't mind if you get like 2, maybe 3 mangoes, because they have so much health regen that it's kind of like, the way that I like to explain it is, let's say you're taking 300 damage per minute, like of right clicks and all of that, on average for the first 10 minutes of the game, and if you have 4.5 health regen, that's going to make it so you're only taking 30 damage per minute, whereas if you buy another mango, it'll put you over the threshold to where you're healing while taking 300 damage per minute. Does that make sense?
It kind of I'm like really bad at math, so
It's
like it kind of was a little confusing.
so
for me, but,
the best way to put it is, let's say you have a Crystal Maiden taking 300 damage per minute and an Ogre taking 300 damage per minute.
right.
The old ogres, let's use, I don't know who has like 4.5 health regen, which is the number that I need. Basically, the closer that your health regen is to the amount of damage that you're taking on average, the more health regen is actually good, because
Right.
if you get a mango on a Crystal Maiden, you're still taking like 200 damage per minute.
Yeah, totally.
Whereas with
I see.
Yeah,
If,
and then-
if it's justified through the HP regen, it's
Yeah.
like so much. It's actually worth
yeah,
it at that
like
point.
PL is I like PL because he has a high amount of natural health regen. Like, I think he has like 3 or something, and he doesn't really want to build any lifesteal or health regen, or anything like that. Like, he kind of just wants to get his treads and like Aquila, and then like maybe drums or diffusal or whatever the build is right now. But if you pick up a wand, between the little bit of health regen on the wand and using your doppelganger to make illusions that tank for you when you jungle, the wand makes it so you can actually jungle, whereas before you can't without losing health. So it's kind of like when you're just below being able to sustain, a little bit of health regen can push you over that, and it makes it really good. And with Nyx and Ogre, if you get like 3 or 2 mangoes on them, it's basically like you're running 2/3 of a tango forever. So a little bit of health regen when you have a lot of health regen can be very good in the beginning stages of the game.
Okay. So 5 seconds in.
Yeah.
Wow, we started off fucking on fire. I like it, dude.
Yeah. Well, you got this fucking. You nuked the shit out of them like 3 times.
Well, I'm about to get fucked, so you'll see.
Another thing that I want to point out is you know that if you press Control Shift, you can fill this up to 8 components. Your quick buy.
Wait, Control Shift. I can do what?
If you Control Shift click like a bunch of items, like let's say I'm in the game right now and I have Control Shift click and I left click Tranquils and then Ags. It'll fill up your quick buy slot right down here.
So that's how you do it.
Yeah, and no, you're good.
Thank you so
Yeah, that's one of the things I point out with all of my students. And there's 3 main reasons that you want to do that. And you want to start it before the game starts because you have like 40 seconds where you're literally just moving from point A to point B from your well to the rune, so you have all the time to do that. The first reason is if you die, like let's say you die right here, and you got the clarity instead of the sentries, and you did something like Tranquils and Wand, you'll be able to buy out your Iron Branch and not lose as much gold when you die, because you would have 75 gold, or whatever gold right now, 65 gold right now, and then your death cost would be 60 of that 65, but if you die while having bought out, you'll only lose like 15 or whatever. So it allows you to buy out, and then also like sometimes you'll be able to get a Windlace and a TP instead of just a TP, and that's like fucking huge in the early game. And then it makes you this is more for like cores, but it's kind of also support, but you can like quickly buy shit. Instead of losing like 3 or 4 seconds and a last hit, you can get your boots run out, or let's say they're running you down and you juke in here and you can buy your boots here while they're chasing you, and you just live because of it. That's pretty big too.
Right. No, of course.
It's bigger
That's
for
a good enough reason itself.
Yeah, like all of the reasons are good enough. And then like as mid, it's super easy or super convenient. But you can also like put your boots, your wand, your bottle, and then put like a salve, tango, and clarity at the very end. So you're a lot more likely to buy those when you actually need them, and it'll come out like 10 seconds sooner. But the main reason that I like is it makes you think about what the lane's going to look like, and then makes you think about what you can do in response to it before it happens. And what that allows you to do is make a prediction and either be right or wrong. And if you're right, then you lane a lot better, but if you're wrong, then you made a mistake and you can learn from the mistake. But if you don't do it, then you're not going to make a mistake and you're not going to learn from it. So all of those reasons together, like I point this out with almost all of my students because I think it's one of the easiest things that you can do to improve a lot.
100%. No, it makes so much sense, dude.
It's oh, okay, so you die here. Hey, well, there's not too much to say about that. You guys did do a bunch of damage, though.
Is there like a better way to like go about like considering whether to like attack and get the rune or not? Like, I feel like I'm just always at this point like just being like, let's just go at 10, like I just want to go every time because it's like I feel like at this skill level, most of the time they're not going to be expecting it. Like I really have success with this way more often than I should. Like this is one of the few times where I actually get completely fucked. But it's like, is there a way better way to calculate this?
The way that I would go about it in my games is mostly how many people show bottom in this situation. So let's say your Pangolier's like scouting over here, he sees like 3 or 4 of them here, and you have 3 people, then you can go for this. But if you just get in the habit of going for this always, you're going to it's one of those things that'll work maybe at the MMR that you are, but when you go up 500 MMR, you're going to keep doing it, and it's going to be one of those bad habits that causes you to plateau.
Right.
And then the mistake kind of is the reason that you die here is you line up with this guy so that if he stuns, you're both going to get hit by it. And then that leads into the Slardar stun too. So if you wanted to do this, the micro play to make this better would be like standing over here. And you don't die if you stand there. Or like over here or whatever. And you can also be tangoing up about like here. Like I would probably eat this tree and then turn around, and then at this point you would have like 60 more health.
Yeah. Would the other play have been to just back out completely?
Yeah, the play was there's 3 of them. I'm just not gonna fucking go in, but there was 4 of them. The Invoker was also there.
Right. So do you feel like right here, like, do you feel like I'm in the right lane?
I think your whole team composition's kind of fucked because the LC and the Lifestealer. I think.
Where would you have started if you were Kotl?
I'd probably start where you are, but I would be more trying to pull and stack and shit. Like if you stack this and then pull it, you would be doing well. PogChamp. And then if you pull this here, you're in a really good spot. Because you can nuke it down, get all the farm, kill off your whole wave too, and then the Lifestealer, or the Legion Commander, will win this 1v1 when she's ahead. So if it's pulled under her tower, and she has a Stout Shield and a Quelling Blade and Moment of Courage, she's not really going to take any damage under the tower, and this guy can't really contest you, because you're doing this pull instead of pulling this and then connecting it here because you have this stacked. So that would give you you can farm all of this with 1 nuke. You would deny this entire wave. The LC would be getting free farm under her tower, and then these guys wouldn't be doing jack shit.
Right.
And that would give you level 3. That would give her level 3. This guy would be level 2. This guy would be level 2, and you guys would be able to do pretty well from there.
Ever since they took out the hard camp pool, or I don't know if they took it out or not, but like ever since that one hard camp, like they changed it, right? Like you can't make that pool, right?
This pole works at this angle, but not this
so it
angle.
Works there.
Yeah.
But that bottom angle's way harder, right? Like
it's very hard to connect this when you're in the safe lane here, because your creeps have to be under their tower, and that doesn't line up very well. Usually if you try to pull this, their creeps are going to be like here or something. So half of your creeps might go to this, and then half of them will go to here. But you you can pull this and then connect it here. But what that does is this creep wave will go under your tower while you still have creeps right here, and then this bristleback can just come over here, kill these, and kill the neutral camp too. So It's really good to stack this and pull this because it kills off your creep wave pretty fast. So this guy won't be able to react and get as much out of it, and he'll have to run deeper to get it, so it's a lot more risky for him.
Do you recommend double stacking that?
Yeah. Especially if I don't know the exact amount of damage, but like I'm pretty sure if you blast it with a level 1 Illuminate, you'll be able to kill off your creeps and all of these without having to tank much. So light AoE damage on supports is really good. Like a Jakiro's Fire Breath or maybe a Dazzle Heal or something like that will allow you to kill off the whole small stack if there's 2. And one other thing to consider with this is it's really, you want to be pulling it at the 10-second mark instead of the 40-second mark, or the 15 or the 45, whatever it is. You want to do it at the first one, because if you stack it, or if you pull it at the 40 or the 45, you won't be able to clear out the camp quick enough. So let's say you pull it right now, you're connecting this to these guys, the 3-minute mark will come around and this camp will be occupied. So you miss the 3-minute stack essentially. Does that make sense?
No, I mean I'm sure it does.
It's if you pull it at the 10 or 15 second, like if you pulled it 30 seconds ago to the creep wave that was just here.
What's the significance of 30 seconds ago?
The significance is that if you pulled it 30 seconds ago, you would have it cleared out by the 3-minute mark. Whereas if you do it now, you're going to miss the 3-minute stack.
I see. So that's super efficient.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I didn't even think about until I was like 5.5k. So
like, fuck. I mean, I feel like pooling is just something so weird for me now. Like I honestly, when I pool, I do it because like the lane's just way too close to their tower, but it's like I'm rarely ever doing it to like get myself gold or anything like that. Like I'm just so fucking preoccupied with like, I'm like always on the brink of like, okay, who the fuck am I about to have to save?
Oh yeah, like, gotcha.
Like, but like, I honestly can't tell when I'm supposed to prioritize my own farm, and I don't think I even should, really. Like,
well, it's kind of like
that's position 5.
The way that you should look at it is, let's say this lion and the bristleback decide to go on your LC, and let's assume that there's 2 different situations. 1, you pulled, and 2, you're there. If you're there, you might throw out a 200 damage nuke if the stars align and they stay right in your blast range. But if you choose to...
not gonna kill them.
Yeah. Unless you guys get, like, a really good turnaround. Which just means that they shouldn't have gone in there. And they're playing bad, which isn't really something you want to play around or account for.
Right. So they should win that scenario.
Yeah. Possibly, yeah. But let's say another scenario is you pull this, your LC is able to pull the creeps like over here. What the fuck are the lion and the bristleback gonna do to your LC?
Right.
So sometimes you're doing a lot better for your carry if you pull instead.
It almost seems like you're kind of like babying them on purpose. Like it's like, just like I don't even trust you. Just like stay as close to this tower as fucking possible. Stay behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
And then it's also, this guy's gonna get free farm where, if it's like here and you're there, and then the lion and the bristle are there, like the lion can just go on him when he goes for a last hit, which means that he's not gonna be getting free last hits. Whereas under the tower, this guy has like 95 damage with Quelling Blade and -2 armor, so he should be able to get every last hit, or like like if he's not getting the last hits, that's not something that you should be concerned with, because that's his thing instead of yours, because he's basically hitting for like 110 damage, which is fucking insane for 3 minutes in the game.
Right.
And then what was I saying? Then you also have these guys just like sitting there with a thumb up their ass, not getting any experience or gold.
Oh, yeah.
And you're also getting experience and gold. So you guys are getting more out of the lane. You're not sapping any of the experience. And you're also generating golden experience while denying them golden experience.
Right.
But if they're playing like super aggressive, like they push this and then they come like stand over here, you can just die if you try and do it. So it's kind of like you have to be kind of careful with it. But it is a really good tactic. You just have to like, it's very hard to, like it probably took me like a good like, it took me a long time to fully comprehend what a pull actually does to the lane, because it's very like, until you break it down into every single small part of it, the lane equilibrium and pulling is very like elusive and hard to understand, because it's like you can pull twice in situations that look the same and they do completely different things. But yeah, another small little thing that can be extremely useful. Let's say you have this single stacked and the creep wave equilibrium is right here, and you really need to pull, but you don't really want to connect it here, or this is dead or whatever. So all you have is this small camp. Have you ever tried to pull this and you don't get the entire wave?
Yeah, a bunch of times.
So what that is these all have separate aggro ranges. And what it is if they see a neutral or an enemy creep or a target or whatever, or they see that you took damage within that radius, and I think it's like 500 for these guys, and it's like 600 or 800 for this guy. So if you're standing like right here, and you get hit by a projectile, you'll pull these two guys.
Yeah.
But not these two. So you can use that as a tool to weaken your creep wave. So these two guys will meet all of these guys, and then it'll pull back under your tower using only a single small camp. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're taking out those two front two.
Yeah. And then you're essentially half pulling, and then these guys are going to get destroyed by these guys.
Is that like kind of on the pretty difficult side to like pull off, or do you feel like it's fairly easy?
I can consistently do it, but that doesn't mean it's easy. You just kind of have to get a feel for it.
Of course.
And they usually have a pretty decent like separation. Like if you get hit like here, then you're gonna pull like, and if you pull any of them, it's usually enough. So if you only get like this guy, or you only get this guy, it's good enough usually.
I see.
So if you try to like stand on the far ends and you only get one, that's fine too. Or if you get three, that's also fine. Or if you get any amount that isn't 4, then it's going to do what you want it to do.
Okay.
So do you have any questions so far on any of that?
Like, yeah, like for the stacking, like,
Yeah.
say that Lifestealer isn't even there. Like, how often would I be going deeper into the jungle to like stack? And let's just say I'm not Kotl, since it's like, he gets that little cheat. Like, let's say it's someone who actually has to hit the creep.
I wouldn't do it very often. It's kind of like, that's your last priority if you can't do anything in lane. But it does go up if, Like, let's say you have an alchemist or something like that.
Yeah, I see. Someone who could take them just super easily, like it's a
Yeah.
joke.
Or like,
Sven.
yeah, a Sven, and you can come over to the ancients and stack for him, and you can't do too much in lane. Or you also have to
Do you feel
factor
like
in.
that's worth it though? Like in a pub, like at this level.
What is
Like,
your what's your MMR? I'm not used to the ribbon system yet.
This is fucking 2.3.
I I probably wouldn't do it unless like you're actually communicating with this Sven. Um, so if you're like trying to talk to him and he's just not responding, then maybe don't do it. And then
'Cause
another.
it's a long fucking trip. Like during that time, who knows what could happen? Like
Well, you also have to consider who on the enemy team can also take it. Um, so like this game, the bristleback could take it at like 15 minutes or something like that. But let's say this bristleback was a Pangolier or some shit instead. Pangolier can't really take an ancient stack unless he wants to fucking sit there for like an hour with swashbuckle. Um, so if nobody on the enemy team can take it, then you're a lot more likely to do it. But if they have a TA or a Sven or something like that that can take it, like there's a lot of different considerations when you consider it. And then another one is if you're like a Crystal Maiden, it's going to take you a fucking minute to walk over there, but you're a Kotl, so you can get there pretty quickly. So,
okay. That actually clears it up.
okay. Did you have any other questions so far?
Not yet.
Alright. Um. Um.
Yeah.
I don't like that. This sword is fine, but it's not when you have this one. It's just overkill.
I mean, I don't know why I'm even justifying it, but I'm sure at the time I thought that ward was closer, way closer to expiring. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
It's probably one of those where you're just like, oh, I'm here, and I haven't been
Yeah,
contributing
I just
too much.
love that spot.
Yeah, this is a good ward spot. One thing I would consider though is did you place that sentry too?
I did.
Okay, yeah, that's just like they're not gonna have a ward here.
I would have thought that they there was a chance that they could have.
I'd say it's like a 2% chance,
Wow.
and that's not
Okay.
worth placing it for. And that's
Yeah,
that's
well-
kind of like what happens when you get a sentry ward to start the game when you don't absolutely
Yeah, dude,
need it for
you
like
end up
invis.
just using it.
Yeah, it's like, well, I have this. This has been in my inventory for 4 minutes. Might as well.
But that's
Um,
also like a novice mindset, right?
Yeah,
Like, I'm sure someone like you would just like, even if you started off with like fucking 5 centuries for God knows what
Yeah.
reason, and you didn't need to use them, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. I'm just fucking
Yeah.
impulsive and a moron.
yeah. I mean, it's like this is shit that everyone goes through. Like I've gone through this shit where it's just like,
I fucking hate finding out that there was a word there. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
That's why I put that sentry there, because it's like, dude, I've caught this one way too many times, but it's like, if you think that's like a 2% chance, dude, I'm definitely gonna reevaluate that.
Well, it's I guess part of it is I don't really watch my own replays back to look for where wards were, or at least I didn't do it earlier when
I just sometimes check on Dota buff.
yeah, I got you.
Like, I mean, like that would take way too long, but like, yeah, I feel you, dude.
It's
I
also
mean,
just kind of like if they have this ward here, who fucking cares? Like
right.
you're not going to be like ganking from here, or you don't have like an earth spirit that's ganking from here. All this is going to do is
That's the point. That's the point. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Like it's not like there's really any advantage. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're right.
but it's
But then
this
again,
is
with
this,
the storm spirits ready to gank. Like, never mind. I mean, I was just gonna say, like, if the storm spirit was ready to gank and was around there, like, and they did have a ward, like that would be bad, right? But it's like, once again, the chances that they have one. I don't know.
it's more of like I would wait, and then if they react, I'll deward it.
I see. That's something I need to work on too. Like looking at their reactions to
Yeah.
my movement.
Yeah, I
To
got you.
like figure out. Yeah, I mean that's just something I'm working on. Like I suck at.
It's
Is there like a way to get better at that? Like consciously, like.
I would just kind
Mm,
of don't allow yourself to place any sentries unless they've given you a clue
right.
to place one.
Right. I got you.
And
That's a good point.
that's like all I can really do to help you improve in that. Here you should definitely be giving this guy some tangos because you have your tranquils. There you go. There you go. Um, One thing that I do want to point out is you should be going for the runes like 10 seconds before you are.
Yeah.
Because what that does is, like, let's say they have a really strong offlaner or whatever, and you're like a shitty little CM. If you're just at the rune spot, the second that it spawns, he can't do a fucking thing about it unless he's also there. So you can be much weaker and still get it and waste his time. And runes, they recently nerfed them early game. I think they got rid of the experience at the 2 minute mark or whatever.
I think they did.
But it's still a huge gold and later on experience swing because it's like this lion's going for this rune, so he's wasting his time. He's not getting gold, and you got gold. So if you get like 200 gold from or it's probably more like 150 gold from the two runes. That's a 300 gold swing because he's not getting that 150 gold, and you are. And that means you get like boots like 3 minutes before he does, and that's for 1 minute or one set of bounty runes.
Right. I gotta be more conscious of the clock.
Yeah. And it also, it's you don't have to be there at every 2 minutes. It's like if you know that there is an offlaner that doesn't have any supports,
Right.
then it's just kind of like you don't have to be there if you can see him and see what he's doing. And it's more important when you're a stronger support, like a support that can deal with the offlaner. It's more important for you to stay in lane until the last second. So let's say that you're a shadow shaman and you're playing around in like this area and he's like up here or whatever, and you're waiting for him to fuck up. You want to be staying here even though the runes just spawned, because if he goes for some stupid shit, you can kill him and then take the runes, and he's not gonna just like jump over you and go get the runes. But if you see that he's running to like this rune, you can just run there and take it, and then take this one before he can do anything, and he'll waste all of the time to go like look for them.
Right.
But if you're just like a Kotl against a dual lane with a lion and a bristleback, and let's say you didn't have this ward here, you would want to get there a lot sooner. And it's just kind of like you're not really going to be doing much else. I think you just managed a creep.
Yeah, I did. I totally fucking did.
Nice.
I felt great about that.
If you ever have problems with clicking on that shit, you can just cast it on their portrait.
Yeah, that's like you're right.
Pro tip.
Yeah.
Also, you can do cool shit like you can blink on their portrait, and if you've ever like accidentally like just like you try and blink, let's say you're like mid and you're like playing Quap as the Dire, and you like try and blink like up here or some shit, and you end up like blinking in this direction. That's usually you clicked on like a portrait. So one of the cool things that you can do with that is you can do like treant heal and shit with that, but the one that's my favorite is if you're playing Pudge, you can blink and then cast hook just by doing this on the portrait, and you'll blink and try and hook this guy. Which is...
Wait a second. If I'm playing against Storm Spirit and I'm Pudge...
No. You can only cast it on your teammates.
Okay.
But, yeah. But that's... I've never actually used that, but that's a cool little thing I want to pull out sometime.
Yeah. I can see that being useful. So, sorry, I do have a mango.
I don't like this ward.
Yeah.
Like, I would have rather seen you refresh this one or place one, like, here or here or here.
Okay.
Because this ward, one of these wards is going to give you the information that this one will, but sooner, unless they come like this way. Yeah.
Which is what I was worried about.
It's just kind of like, if you have one here and you don't like run around this way, or if you do come this way and you like take a wider turn instead of like one of these, you'll give yourself the vision. If you like go like this, you'll give yourself the vision so somebody's not gonna like pop around and just get you. And if you have it here or here, you're gonna see them for more important things that happen like consistently.
Right. Okay.
There isn't too much to say about like the laning though, because you're just kind of like a Kotl, so there's not too much.
Do you have anything to say about like my camera, my movement?
I haven't seen anything like the bounty runes.
Like, what about the way that I'm just like in general like going about like fundamentals, like.
Aside from the stuff that I pointed out,
what if you like just really wanted to like just shit on me? Like you had the opportunity to just like shit on like a noob. Like, what would you tell me? Like, oh, by the way, you're fucking this. I don't know. Like,
the first thing is I don't like first picking Kotl.
Okay.
Because you're taking the position 5 role or the position 4 role, and you're not actually providing any stuns. And you're kind of like a very polarizing support in that for you to perform well, a lot of situations have to happen.
Such as?
Like, let's say they pick a Night Stalker. Then you don't have the option of picking up an Ags anymore, really. Or...
Hold on, I'm sorry. Because, like, I completely agree with you. Like, I don't like first picking a Kotl either. But it's like, if I'm ever gonna, like, practice, like, Kotl, like, and my team's not gonna get pissed at me, like, I kind of just have to first pick him. Because it's like, everyone expects you as a support to just, like, first pick.
Yeah.
Like, I would fucking love to just wait until the end. And this sounds selfish as fuck, but like, I loved having the opportunity to actually strategize the hero that I'm picking. But it's like, there's just no, I'm just gonna get flamed, and then the morale of the team just goes to shit. Like,
yeah, I understand. I play position 4, and I first pick like every single game. Because if I don't first pick, then the other guy that's supporting is going to either take the position 4 and I'm gonna have to position 5, which is I'm a lot better at position 4.
Yeah.
Or like basically I have to first pick. So I always first pick, but because of that, I only pick heroes that are able to always do stuff if they're first picked.
Does that ever like hinder you?
It's just kind of like if I don't do that, that hinders me. Like right now, if we, it's just clockwork.
Yeah.
Because him and Night Stalker, I would say, are the only position 4s right now that no matter what the enemy team does, they're still going to be helpful. Whereas, like, Pudge is my favorite hero, and I got a fuck ton of... I have 3 times as many games played on Pudge as I do on any other hero. But...
Is this your first account?
Yeah.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah. But if I pick Pudge first, and then they pick, like, Mirana, Quap, and AM or some shit, or a Pingaleer, then I just can't do anything in the first 10 minutes of the game. And then Pudge is a hero where if you don't do well in the beginning of the game, you're just going to be useless for most of the game. So I just can't pick Pudge first. So I just don't pick Pudge first. So if you're trying to win some of your games, like I would recommend that you try to pick what's good, and then when you get higher, you might be able to pick later, and then you can pick a Kotl when it works better. But if you want to play Kotl, you can fucking do it. I'm just saying that it's
No. I see what you're saying. Like you're basically just saying like, look, dude, if you want to win,
yeah,
like, I'm just telling you what's up.
You have a lot better chance of winning if you don't first pick.
I'll be honest though, like I really like. Look, I want to win, but
Yeah.
it's like I'm honestly more interested in just like developing like skill in supporting, and obviously skillful people win, but
Yeah.
they also lose.
Yeah.
And through losing, you definitely learn shit. But it's like, do you feel like first picking a Kotl really like puts like?
Yes, I do.
Do you feel like that's just like, holy fuck, dude? Like you're putting yourself in a really shitty position right now.
Yeah, like I don't like Kotl in pubs even.
Yeah, I mean it is definitely like an IO almost.
Yeah, it's to fully use him, you need to be using your call correctly.
Well, I don't know if you saw in that replay, but like I actually called the LC at this one really important point. Where
yeah, and he probably didn't realize any fed or some shit.
He was actually AFK.
Yeah.
So like, and then he was like, "What the fuck, dude? Why would you?" And I'm like,
yeah,
okay, well,
exactly. You're
you're right. Why would I use my?
Why are you using your fucking abilities correctly, dude? Well, it's just kind of like, yeah, like it's not gonna work because your recall is a very important tool, but you're not on the right communication level with your teammates for it to be fully used. And then also, you're first picking a support that doesn't have a stun, that's also very weak in lane, and pretty fucking greedy. So
Yeah.
you don't do anything in lane. You require... What was that?
It's like ultimate greediness.
Yeah. And it's just... You're putting yourself in a horrible position by picking Kotl in a pub, and especially by first picking him. Because you guys don't have... Aside from this guy's duel and this guy's pull, you don't really have any disables. And if this guy picked, like, SF, and this guy picked, like, Juggernaut, what the fuck would you guys be doing if they have, like, a AM or a Quap or something that can just fucking... Like, if you don't have any lockdown and they pick one of those heroes, or a Tinker or something, you guys are just screwed. And then the higher you go up in games...
Quap?
Yeah. What?
Why a Quap?
She, basically heroes that are squishy as shit, but are maneuverable.
Okay.
So, like, if you can stun a Quap, you can kill her very easily.
I see.
As opposed to, like, a Legion Commander or some shit. Or, like, a Puck, a Storm, a Quap, an AM, Faceless Void. They're all heroes that are a lot squishier with when you lock them down relative to other heroes. Like if you lock down a Bristleback, it's okay. Like he wants to be taking damage, and he isn't. His kit doesn't revolve around him maneuvering really quickly like a Quap does or an AM does.
Right.
So those heroes that I point out, like a Storm Spirit's another one. If you can lock him down, he's gonna die super easily because he's playing around being able to maneuver, and his hero is based around being able to maneuver. And if you can take that away, he dies really easily. Whereas like a Lifestealer, he's just gonna fucking like rage if you like chakra him or mana leak him or whatever. So it's just you're missing a lot of things for your team. You're missing the early game lane impact. You're missing the stunge. You're missing your relocate being able to do anything. So really, you're just like a late game mana drain and blind, and you can delay the game with illuminate, and that's about it. Which is like not enough for a position 5. Whereas if you pick like a witch doctor or whatever, or who else? Like a shadow shaman would be amazing.
I play a witch doctor like all the time. It's my most played hero.
Yeah, and doesn't he feel a lot better, a lot more consistently?
I definitely have way more like ability to like control the game with witch doctor.
Yeah, you have better stats.
But I feel like that also has a lot to do with my ability to play Kotl. Like I've watched people play Kotl, and I've watched them just terrorize a lane with Illuminate. Like I'm sure you've experienced that as well. Like it's like he can be dangerous. It's just like I don't feel dangerous when I'm playing him most of the time. The best case scenario when I play Kotl is like I get a really good blind off. Like
yeah, it's just usually it's based off of more the positioning of the enemy than it is your skill. Because if they position in the creep wave and you blast the creep wave, you just push the fucking lane, and then they can.
Right.
So if they play against it correctly, it's just not gonna do much.
Yeah, I see.
And if they have like a lane ward and they like see you blasting or whatever, or they see you go over here and they just stand on this side and they can like react, you're not going to do that much. And your nuke, the damage per mana isn't very high, even though you have mana regen. It's just kind of like it takes a while.
The only time it's worth it is like if you have early levels and you put like a lot into Illuminate. Like if you max out Illuminate really early, I mean, I feel like it hurts like a motherfucker.
Yeah, if you're like level 5 and you're throwing out Illuminates that connect every single time you cast it, you're gonna fucking destroy somebody. But like the chances of that aligning in a game is like 5%. For you to have an impact at all in the lane phase.
Even like the best Kotl player.
Yeah. And like, even if you are the best Kotl player, you're going to be missing one of your key abilities just because your teammates aren't going to react correctly.
What do you mean?
Your recall. Like if you use recall and your teammates don't react, which they tend not to do, under like 5 or 6k, you're just gonna recall your LC and she's gonna die because she's AFK or some stupid shit. And
do you think if you're gonna play Kotl in a pub, like you should like make it a priority to be super communicative?
I mean, I just like wouldn't play.
Like that would resolve the problem. Like, hey, I'm recalling you right now. Like,
well, it's kind of like you have to figure out who's responding again. Like with the Sven example, if you're communicating a lot and then somebody just fucking mutes you because you're like annoying or whatever, then it's you just lost one of your abilities, and you also can't communicate with a teammate. So it's like I would only try to recall somebody that's like communicating back or some shit in lower games. Like if I play Kotl, I can pretty reasonably recall people and not be super afraid, because like people just pay a lot more attention when they're like the top 1,000 in America as opposed to in lower games, but that's just like something that you're missing on the hero by playing him at this skill level. So I just like I don't even like Kotl in my games. Like if I was to play position 5, I would almost never pick a Kotl. Like
Who do you think is the most powerful position 5 right now?
I think Shadow Shaman probably has the best ability to win a game in games under like 6K, because he's one of the only supports that can push on his own. And like if you get like a early level 6, let's say you get level 6 at 10 minutes, and then you play around like you dropped hordes top right when you got them, and then you go bottom when you have wards 20 seconds on cooldown, you push out the lane, you drop them right when they come off of cooldown, and you just keep doing that over and over and over, you can get all of the tier 2s down by like 20-25 minutes.
What do you think are the item prerequisites for that to be like consistently successful?
Well, it's not completely consistent, but it is like if they have a LC with a blink that's just like jungling and you don't have any vision of her, you don't really want to go do that because you're just gonna get dueled and die. So it's not ever gonna be every game, but it's if they have
what's like what's the starter pack?
Mana boots. That guy really needs mana boots.
Okay, so mana boots. What about a desolator? Like
no. No.
I've ever said. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'd no. Because
I just heard somewhere that like Smurfs do that.
No.
Like, buy a desolator.
No.
Okay.
Don't.
Got it.
Nope. Like maybe if you're like 4,000 above the game level, then you can do cheeky shit like that, but
4,000 MMR.
yeah, like
Oh my god.
I would be hesitant to do that in your games.
Wow.
Because that's just like stupid. Like you can just get a blink dagger and like kill people and then push towers and still be useful. And blink dagger lets you split push better because you can just go in, drop your wards, and then you see somebody TPing, you just fucking blink out and they can't do anything about it. Or you drop your wards. Boots? Yeah. Or no, you don't want TP boots unless it's like later in the game. You really need mana boots because you don't really have enough mana to cast all of your spells.
No, you don't.
And you don't have any mana regen, so it's kind of like if you don't have mana boots, you're just kind of fucked. He's one of the few heroes that I think mana boots is like mandatory on, and then like Nyx Assassin is like another one, just because they need more, and then like Kunkka probably. But yeah, they're like heroes that you just need more mana on. And they're heroes that are usually with other people too, so the AoE mana is good, not only for yourself but for your team. But yeah, I really like Shadow Shaman if I have to position 5 and I'm above the average, I'll probably pick this guy because I know that if fights go well and my teammates are retarded and they just go jungle after we like win a team fight, I can at least push on my own. Whereas if I pick a Dazzle, like what the fuck am I gonna do? I can like heal a wave and push it a little bit faster, but I'm not really gonna be able to do nearly as much as a Shadow Shaman will.
How much time do we have left? Do we even have any left?
We have 45 minutes left if you want.
That's how much I have. Like, okay, got it.
Yeah.
How long was this? Like,
it's
40 minutes?
It's at an hour now. And
let's just like
we can call it here.
Like, we can wrap it up. Like, I just like.
Yeah.
I don't want to take up too much of your time at once. You know what I'm
saying? I got you.
Here?
And it's good to split it up because you can work on the things and then come back, and I can.
Just wanna go play.
Yeah. So yeah, do you have any final questions? We can wrap it up here.
I do, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
What do you think about Oracle?
Oracle is, he used to be a lot better for just picking. The only time that I would look at him in a pub is if you have like a Huskar or some shit, or
Yeah,
they
he's
pick.
pretty good with this.
Yeah, he's amazing with Huskar. Or if they pick a Darkseer, because you can just cast Fortune's End on the creeps and it counters him. It gets rid of the Ion Shell.
You don't like people first picking him?
No. And one thing to consider with him is 2 points in Fate's Edict allows you to cast 2 of these off of one of these. Anything else?
No, I was just trying to squeeze anything else out.
I got you. But yeah, so get some games in, and then we can try and do another lesson later.
Oh, actually, do you mind if I ask you really quickly about a camera really quick?
Sure.
Like, is there any, like, thing that I'm just, like, missing where it's, like... I'm watching some of these pros play, and it's, like... Sometimes I see the way that they're, like, switching... Like, their camera goes, like, directly to, like, this one spot.
Oh,
like,
where is that? You can, that's this, I think.
so they're using that.
Yeah.
People actually use that.
I don't. I think it's more of a mid lane thing, I think.
Why is that?
Because you can place it on the runes and then look at them instantly. And then there's another thing, where is it? This, where if somebody pings and you press this button, it will show where the last ping was.
Oh, okay. Like someone pings a ward and you weren't looking.
Yeah.
Just go there. Okay. So you don't use this position thing. Do you know people who use it?
I don't. I haven't really talked with anyone about it. All I know that it's good for is runes, but like.
I feel like there might be some merit into me looking into it. I'm not sure, but like, I might look into it because it seems like they're. But then again, like, because when you play, like, anytime you're just using the mini map, like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm just wondering if they're saving time by clicking on positions.
I mean, anytime that you're trying to look at the other side of the map, it usually doesn't matter what you're doing in that second. So, it's not...
What do you mean?
Like, if you're, like, playing down, or if you're in this lane and you're, like, trying to stack or some shit, and then you just click down bottom to see what's happening, it's, like, not very, like, millisecond critical, usually. Like, when you never really look completely across the map and have to be there, and that 0.1 seconds is the difference. Like...
Right.
If you see, usually when you're, the thing that comes to mind is you're off lane getting dived. But that, if you're just watching the minimap and then you see like a Shadow Shaman's head pops up right here on the minimap and like, a Juggernaut right here, then it's like pretty obvious what's happening without looking. And,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's kind of like, I don't use it and I don't really see the value of it. So it's like if it does anything, it's so minuscule that it's I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay.
All right, so yeah, I'll cut the recording here and then I'll put it up. And before our next lesson, I